Hey guys, and welcome to another deck profile. Today we got Jellymon from RB1, which is coming out in a few days. He's less than a week now, and super exciting. This deck is very nasty. I personally think Jellymon is going to be probably the best deck that comes out of RB1, just because it is very disruptive. The whole gimmick of this deck is stripping sources and then bouncing cards that don't have sources. And you also get to stun your opponent's Digimon and or Tamers, allowing them to not suspend, which is very good. Let's get into it. So we're doing 4 of the new Jellymons. When attacking once per turn by trashing 1 blue card from your hand, trash 1 Digivolution card from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. This is good because it's going to help you maintain 7 or less cards in your hand. That's kind of when you're able to trigger the Kyoshiros and allowing you to suspend them and then draw a card. So not card hand mitigation, and of course just stripping from your opponent's Digimon, which is going to come very handy. With the level 3s, let's start with the new Jellymon from RB1. Same thing as the Angoromon, where you reveal 3 cards and you get to add 1 card with Jellymon in its text and 1 Kyoshiro from them, and then put the rest back in the bottom of your deck. This one, once per turn, you inherit. When you trash a card, you get to gain 1 memory, which is really nice because the Amphimon, the new one, does cost 4 to Evo. So allowing you to gain memory from it will have it cost 3 instead of 4. 4 of the promo Jellymon, more Jellymons, inherit 1 attack, and if you have a Kyoshiro in play, you can draw 1. Not too much to say about that, just allowing you to draw. 2 of the old BT8 Jellymon. This one, when you play a blue tamer, you draw 1. Not really going to come up often, but it will come up. But here, the inherit, when an effect adds a card to your hand, return 1 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to the hand, which could be good to control the board as far as level 3s. However, your Amphimon really controls the board here and removes Digimon anyway. So it's still nice to get rid of 2 Digimon when it happens. Last but not least, 4 of the BT13 Evade Jellymon. And now, I'm not going to lie, the first time I was like, why would they give this Jellymon Evade? And the ultimate, this is really nice because if you do play the Jellymon and they try to pop it, you'll evade. And now next time, or next turn, I should say, you'll have the Jellymon and you can warp into the level 5 and going into the Amphimon. So it's actually pretty nice. The inherit here, 1 attacking, trash the bottom part of one of your opponent's Digivolution cards. So now with this one and the Pyoyo, you can trash up to 2 as inherits. So we are doing all Jellymons. So the reason we're doing all Jellymons is because the Amphimons and a lot of card effects, when you place cards with Jellymon in its text from the trash back to the bottom of your deck, you trigger effects. So that's why I'm doing all Jelly. Moving on to level 4s, the new Tesla Jelly from RB1 does the same thing as the Angoromon, where when you Digivolve, you can play a Kyoshiro if you don't have one in play. The inherit is the same as the RB1 Jellymon, where you trash a card, you get to gain 1 memory. So now you could potentially gain 2 memory, costing your level 6s to cost either 1 and or 2, since you do trash usually when you Digivolve into them. 3 of the BT13 Tesla Jellymons. This one, when you attack, you draw 1, which is cool. If you match this up with the Kyoshiro that gives you jamming, you can swing freely and then draw an extra card. When attacking the inherit, you trash a Digivolution card from one of your opponent's Digimon. 2 of Tesla Jelly from BT9, and this is a pseudo hybrid. End of attack, once per turn, you may trash 2 cards from your hand to unsuspend this Digimon. When you do have the Kyoshiro that gives you jamming, now you're doing 2 checks, which is really nice. So now if you need that swing for game, you could do it with 1 body if there is 1 security. Or you could swing over 2 bodies, right, by unsuspending yourself. Last but not least, I am doing 1 hybrid. And reason being is kind of, if you guys have seen my Deribit gameplays, there's a lot of matches where I would have won if I had 1 hybrid. It does come up. I do have a feeling that Deribit needs it more than this deck, just because you have that Tesla that you're able to attack twice per turn. But now what you could do is if you just have this one, you swing twice, and now you just go into hybrid for game. So I still think this hybrid is really good in the new RB decks. Maybe not so much for Gammamon, which we'll get into when I make that deck profile. But definitely for Jelly and the Angoromon. Onto the level 5s. We'll start off with the new one. Amphimon from RB1. When Digivolving, you may trash up to 2 blue cards in your hand. For each one, you may trash 1 Digivolution card under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon or Tamers without cards under it can't suspend. That is so good. Let's say you have no security. Your opponent has 1 Tamer. Let's say you swing at the Digimon that they have that they'll win with. And if they have a hybrid that they could go for game, you just go ahead and Digivolve, strip its sources if it has any, and even if it doesn't, then you can now technically stun the Tamer by not being able to suspend. So that's one way that this card is very, very good. So it's kind of a pseudo blue flare in a way where you could stun, where they can't suspend. They can unsuspend, but they cannot suspend, therefore meaning they can't block and or they can't swing. And then end of attack once per turn. By returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their card text from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order, you get to unsuspend this Digimon. So it's really nice. Kind of why it might not be as necessary to run hybrids here, since you can unsuspend yourself and be able to swing basically twice. Last 4, we're doing the BT13 hand effect Amphimon. This one is as long as you have a Jellymon in the field or in play, which is why I'm saying the evade one is actually really nice, because now if you have a Tesla in your hand and you have one of these in your hand, if you have a Kyoshido in play, you can now place any Tesla underneath and Digivolve into that Amphimon. So that is why it's really nice, because now even if you're at 3 with the rookie, Digivolve, and now you'll Digivolve again, leaving your opponent at 3 or 4. But now you have a Mega on the board from a rookie, which is very, very crucial. And again, why I say that evade comes in clutch, because if they try getting rid of it, now you have evade, and they would have to swing over it. So really nice. And then the inherit of this Amphimon is the same thing as that one, where you can return 3 cards with Jellymon in their text from the trash back to the bottom of your deck in any order to unsuspend it. So really nice. I was trying the old Amphimon, but it just wasn't flowing right. I had it in my hand and kind of didn't want it. Your Tamers help you draw so much that Digivolve effect, that when you Digivolve and you draw cards, isn't really necessary. I'd rather have the inherit. And that's it for the level 5s. Let's move on to the Amphimons. I personally am running 4. I've seen people do a split 3 and 3 of the other Amphimon, which we'll get into. So this one has 1 Digivolving and 1 attacking, same effect. So you can trash up to 2 blue cards from your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, you may choose 1 Digivolution card under one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and trash it. Then you may return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck. All turns once per turn, when one of your blue Digimon would be deleted, by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their text back to the bottom of your deck, you can prevent the deletion. So now you know why this inherit is so nuts. Because now, if, let's say you're at 3, right? You're usually going to be left at 3 if you have a memory set Tamer. We'll just do this really quick. And let's put in, even if you just have 1 that gives you the memory for when you trash. If you're at 3, right, you're going to leave them at 1, Digivolving for 4, you'll trash 1, gaining a memory, and you're going to trash it from Amphimon's effect, so that's how it would trigger, in case you don't have anything else that's going to help you. So now, you get rid of sources, potentially send something back to the bottom of the deck, and now you swing again, trashing cards again, bouncing something else that has no cards with Digivolutions underneath, end of attack, unsuspend, and now you can swing again, removing up to 3 cards on the board, so long as they don't have evolution cards underneath, and if they do, you're trashing them anyway. So so disgusting. So disgusting. Of course, I will have gameplay videos, and I will start streaming again once RB1 officially comes out, when I'll do giveaways for cards. So make sure you stay tuned in that. I am going to be really excited to play with you guys again and kind of just get back in the groove. The other 2 megas that we're playing is promo Amphimon, which will come in RB1. Again, like I said, people run it 3-3, and I could see why, but let's talk about this one, and then I'll tell you guys why I run 4 of the RB1 instead of the promo. So this Amphimon costs 3, so off the bat, it's already better memory-wise when you Digivolve. It is 11,000 instead of 12. When Digivolving, you may trash up to 3 blue cards from your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, you may trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with no Digivolution cards can't suspend until the end of your opponent's turn. So this one stuns, while this one trashes and then gets rid of a card. Now, the other effect here, opponent's turn once per turn. When one of your opponent's Digimon attacks by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their text from your trash to the bottom of the deck, you end the attack, which is very, very good. I'm telling you, I understand why people run 3 and 3. And especially, you know, if you're going against an OTK deck where you could negate an attack, that's huge. However, this is what I would ask you. Would you rather stop an attack, or would you rather clear your opponent's board? Me personally, I'd rather clear their board, because now they're going to have to build back up into it. And I already have Omega, and you're basically locking them out. Unless they pull something out of their, you know what, like if they have red hybrid where they'll just hybrid up, then that'll be a way to kind of get rid of it. But even if you try and get rid of it, now you got Amphimons in here where you take 3 Jellymon cards with text in their text, back to the bottom of the deck to prevent the deletion. So now what? You have to try and get rid of this card twice. Another thing that I do like about this is that when you do swing, if you hit something that will delete it, you can use its own effect to save it. So the jamming ability from Yoshido it's not really needed for this card, but it is needed for this. You can't protect this from getting deleted. You can only stop attacks. So that's my whole reason why I'm doing 4 of these. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are going to run. And that's it for the level 6s. No level 7s in this deck because I truly think you don't need any. We're doing 4 of the new Kyoshiros. This one alterns when your Digimon with Jellymon in its text or your opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon attacks. If you have 7 or less cards in your hand, by trashing this Tamer, draw 1. I love this because if you don't have Digimon on the board and your opponent has a level 5 or 6 and they attack, you can trigger this, which is awesome. Your turn, when this Tamer becomes unsuspended, gain 1 memory, which is nice because they'll stack. So if your opponent attacks with the level 6, you got 2 of them. And if you have, the only thing that sucks about this is if you have more than 7 cards, you can't activate it because it says if you have 7 or less cards in your hand, by suspending this Tamer, draw 1. So you really, really have to be mindful of that effect. It will not work if you have 7. So if I were to have 6, I could only tap 1 because then I would have 7 and you resolve an effect 1 by 1. So that is why it's really good, especially with the when attacking Amphi. Every time you attack, you're trashing 2 cards. So it's kind of helping you. You're always cycling your deck, right? You're always putting Jellymon cards in the trash, putting them back on top underneath your deck, drawing more, and then you have more sources to, get rid of stuff on the board. Then we are doing 2 of the memory set Kyoshiros. Start of your turn, get 3 memory, or start at 3 memory. This one, when you attack with the Digimon that has Jellymon in its name or level 5 or higher, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, you can suspend it to draw 1. So again, really, really nice. I am only running 2 and 4 of these instead, just because if my opponent leaves me at 3, I'm not getting any more memory from this one because I already started 3. If my opponent leaves me at 3 and I have 1, it unsuspends, now I'm going to 4. And now you can Digivolve into that Amphi since it costs 4 and it's still your turn. So I'm doing 2. Last but not least, 2 of the jamming Kyoshiros. If you have Jellymon in your Digivolution cards, you may suspend this Tamer to have that Digimon gain jamming. Pretty self-explanatory. This is very, very good for the Tesla that can unsuspend at the end of attack by trashing 2 cards. So here's the thing, if you're at, let's say you're at 2, you already have the Tesla, and you have one of these, and you have a, just Kyoshiros in play or whatnot. Let's say you got these 3. If you have 3 Tamers, you're only at 2 memory, your opponent has 2 security left, and now you swing, you'll give it jamming, because you want to make sure it gets that second check. And now here, let's say, you know, it's kind of a gamble here, but we'll just do one Kyoshiro to draw a card. And now by chance, maybe you could draw that hybrid. So now when you trash, you want to suspend, you swing again. If this gets popped, well, it gets popped, and now you can just go ahead and hybrid for game. So pretty cool. That's it for the Tamers. And last but not least, let's get into some options here. 2 blue men. Of course, the Amphimon costs 4 to evo into it, so it's helpful to get 2 memory when you need it. Of course, going through your deck and adding a blue card into your hand is also good. So that's it. 2 blue mems. And these last 2 slots, when I first tried making this deck, I was really kind of testing and trying to see what would work. I was trying Sorais, I was trying Ice Walls, I was trying, you know, just removal cards. I ended up sticking with Startling Thunder from BT9. The reason is, it has Jellymon in its text. So you could recycle this card back into your deck because it has Jellymon in its text. Aside from that, you return a level 4 or lower to your opponent's hand. Then if you have a Digimon with Jellymon in its name or its Digivolution cards, which you are all the time, you return one of your opponent's Tamers to its owner's hand. In one of my matches, I Digivolved and then I stunned a Tamer, and then I played Startling Thunder and I returned the other Tamer to the back of my opponent's hand. So now they couldn't tap that other Tamer to Digicross if they're playing Blue Flare, which they were. So they weren't able to, but they lucked out and the security had more Tamers. So, but that's just kind of an idea of what you could do with the Startling Thunder. This is probably my favorite deck that's going to be in RB1. Mind you, I am still playing around with Gammamon, and Gammamon is really fun. But my oh my, the things you can do with this deck are absolutely amazing. Don't forget, if you guys are not subscribed, hit that subscribe so you guys are notified when all these deck profiles come out and the videos. So I'll see you guys on the next video.